Hey guys, I do a quick video today. Well, it's been a couple of months here, but I figured I'd do an update of what's going on around here and what I've been up to. So about two and a half months ago, I was doing my yearly tune-up on the 140. The spark plug, pulled the spark plug out, and all my threads came out of the head with the plug. So I'm not sure what the deal was there, if the threads were just getting weak or if I actually had it a little too tight. So I pulled the head off right away because I'm like, well, I'll see if I can get helicoiled. If not, we're going to we'll find a new used head for it. Machine shop was able to helicoil it. See, the head's all cleaned up now, which is really nice. So that's all ready to go back on. But in taking the head off, in turn ended up finding my cylinder was out of round. And it was slightly out of round, but if you can look at the piston here, it's hard to tell on camera. You can see, and this is facing the exhaust valve. If I can get it to focus here, you can see how it's kind of all jagged and it's kind of flat there. And I have a little scoring and washout on the sides of the piston skirt, plus a very slight amount of metal transfer. It's more of a, I wouldn't even call it necessarily, I mean it is metal transfer, but it's more of a light kind of pitting, I should say. But on the connecting rod, so first I saw the piston. I could see that I could move the piston in the cylinder bore, and ended up taking the motor out, pulled the motor out, pulled the piston out, found all that. Okay, it's time for an engine rebuild. I don't really have a choice. Sad part was this was already at 20 over, as you can see. So I ended up taking it to machine shop. I had them measure everything up. Sure enough, I was able to go 30 over on my piston. So I got a 30 over piston in there, and the crank was already ground 10 under, so we were able to go 20 under. So basically maxed out this engine at the moment, but that's fine. This is going to last for at least another 50 years now. Obviously it's been rebuilt once before in its life, but who knows the kind of maintenance it had before that. But now at least I'm starting from scratch with a basically brand new engine, so should be set for a while. But I just had them brand new Kohler valves. They ground the valve seats, put new valves in it, genuine 30 over Kohler piston. The only thing I could not get genuine Kohler anymore was a 20 under rod, so I got that from iSave Tractors, which I put their engine rebuild kit in my round fender 110. That one, the cylinder bore and everything was in good shape, but I was having a rod knock issue, if you remember correctly, so we ended up getting one of their rebuild kits, and I figured while I was in there I put a standard piston in, a rod, and I had a used crank that I was able to use. But I've had no issues with that motor. Granted, that doesn't get run very often, but for aftermarket, I trust them and everything I've seen in their products, so I figured it should be safe, so we put that in here. But yeah, so that's that. I just got to basically finish recently, put my breather back on, put all my gaskets on. The only gasket they did put on was for the side cover, because there's actually these side cover gaskets, there's 3 or 4 of them that come with the kit, and it is a shim kit to set your crankshaft end play. So that got set. New governor cross shaft, because these were prone to failure issues, so I had them replace that. I ordered a new one, had them put it back in before they reassemble it. I got a new brass bushing there, because there isn't a seal here, it's just a bushing, which being splash lube, you don't get that much oil up here. You do and you don't, but I want to put a new one in because it had some play, and you put a new shaft, so that's that. But yeah, so everything's all nice and clean, needs to get painted and then finish reassembly. But I was talking with some people, when some of the guys at work, and they're saying, well, you're getting to 30 over, that's pretty, you're getting a thin cylinder wall. Well, for starters, the 12 horse and 14 horse, the block is the same. The only difference is the cylinder bore, and they use the same block. So if you go to I can make this a 14 horsepower engine if I wanted to, and you still use the same cylinder block. So I have plenty of meat left in my cylinder wall. I'm not worried about any of those issues. Because if we look here, this is my standard cylinder bore on a 12 horse engine is 3.375. And if we go to this page here, which is a K321, which is your 14 horse, my cylinder bore is 3.5. So that would be, you can tell how much meat I have left before. So plenty fine there. But yeah, I did pick this up a little while back, which is really handy, the service manual for the 140. Coming in handy for this project, but so I gotta get that all reassembled. As you can see, I was originally gonna put a new governor gear in it, and the new ones that Kohler has, which I'm not sure if they make anymore, but that when you can get them, are these nylon governor gears. Everything these days has pretty much nylon governor gears in them of some shape or form. Never been too keen on plastic inside motors, but they do work. Machine shop guy said, because mine had the metal governor gear in it, so when they took that out, he looked at it and everything was great on it, so he said we'll put that back in. Very glad we replaced the governor cross shaft, as you can see, because they used to hold them on with rivets, and my new one, it's a welded on style, but as you can see, that was nice and loose, so that's why that got replaced. And there's the old brass bushing, just got that replaced because it's in there. Have new head bolts and the new head stud for the one part, so that's awesome. And then the coil, had some issues with the coil. I shouldn't say I had issues, that still worked, but some nice cracking going on in the coil. So while it was apart, I gotta clean my stator up. That's all in good shape though. So replacing the coil, and then the wire obviously is getting replaced too. But so that was that. We got a brand new carburetor because my throttle shaft was wore out on my other one. This is just rest of my seal kit parts out of there. Got my breather kit and all my other gaskets. And then, yep, that was all that stuff. And lastly, nice thing, John Deere still has these in stock. Brand new mufflers for the 140s. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And for anybody who wants to see, there's the part number right there. It'll load. Yeah, so John Deere still has those in stock. Their retail's probably around 200 bucks. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but my cost, that helps too for that. But so that was all that. Yeah, it's pretty much going off the 140. I do have the PTO clutch apart because I took the bearing out of it. I have brand new NSK bearing in there for the front of the shaft there, so that'll get replaced. I know I have stuff everywhere down here right now. To clean up. Another thing I don't think you guys ever saw, I have a rear PTO for the 140 now. There is the outer shaft, and here's the inside shaft, and then it's my spline collar down there. So I got a rear PTO for my 140, which I'm not sure if it was shown in the video, but I do have a 33 tiller as well now, which I've used a couple of times before I went to go do this tune-up and had these issues. But so that's pretty much all that on the tractor right now. But yeah, I figured I'd just show you guys what was going on. Oh, when I did while the engine was gone, I got a couple of my tins painted up, sandblasted, and I painted them. But I ended up used a little bit of brake clean rubbing alcohol. I cleaned all the old paint off of this. There was some overspray and stuff, and I just clear coated it, and I painted up the original rivets and put it back on. And got a new decal for it. But yeah, so that turned out pretty good. And I got my other cooling shroud painted up too, which turned out pretty good. I got a couple other shrouds I had to deal with yet, but yeah, so that was that. I figured I'd show you guys what's going on, and I will talk to you later.